You stand near a safety fence taking photos of a spitting volcano. A strange chemical rush pulls your attention closer to the raw fire. Our ancient ancestors experienced this exact same magnetic attraction. They completely lacked helicopters, warning signs, and protective gear. Yet those early clans constantly walked directly toward boiling peaks. Why would a fragile, naked primate approach such absolute destruction? One violent blast could easily erase an entire clan in a few seconds. Walking into geothermal danger seems like an act of complete madness. Still, prehistoric humans repeatedly returned to these smoking fields. They discovered a massive biological jackpot hidden inside the heat. Deep geothermal zones offered life-saving secrets for early survivors. Our modern minds completely struggle to grasp this terrifying reality. We view volcanic eruptions as rare spectacles filmed from safe plains. Prehistoric clans experienced a completely different world of threats. Nature presented a brutal landscape filled with ice and sudden fire. These early human groups desperately needed crucial survival assets. Glaciers covered much of the Earth during these dark prehistoric days. An active mountain offered an unexpected refuge from the bitter cold. Lava flows presented incredibly dangerous yet rich survival resources. Ancient hunters relied on sharp glass formed inside volcanic vents. This incredibly durable obsidian stone served as an ultimate tool. People desperately braved glowing steam vents to gather raw materials. They risked horrific injuries to craft premium spears and sharp blades. Such a lethal environment forced humans to develop keen instincts. Living near active slopes required total awareness of subtle signs. A small error in judgment meant instant suffocation or hot ashes. These early people quickly mastered the delicate physics of heat. They safely harnessed geothermal energy long before modern history. Vast ash fields preserved incredible physical records of their steps. Researchers recently uncovered proof of these ancient walks. Archaeology easily confirms our ancestors' extreme determination. We must travel deep into the past to uncover this strange mystery. Let us travel back thousands of years to an extremely cold landscape. Our clever ancestors made a highly calculated bet against raw danger. These glowing slopes were actually the ultimate wealth zones of Earth. Freezing mountains offered a legendary material called volcanic glass. Master survivalists call this highly sharp dark rock obsidian stone. This shiny material holds a cutting edge much finer than modern steel. A single clean slice can easily pierce through the thickest wild hides. Prehistoric survival depended entirely on the quality of your blade. Hiking toward a smoking peak was not an act of absolute foolishness. It represented a very dangerous yet necessary business trip for tools. Hunters needed premium tips to secure fresh meat for their big clans. Gathering these precious rocks meant stepping onto unstable, boiling soil. The physical earth constantly trembled beneath their bare leather wraps. Highly toxic gas clouds frequently drifted across the dark, jagged slopes. A single heavy slip could plunge a brave gatherer into a lake of fire. Yet early families repeatedly chose to accept this terrifying hazard. They wanted to dominate the valley with superior weapon technology. Liquid lava offered far more than just a source of sharp black stone. The active earth presented an incredible system of permanent warmth. Glacial winds howled across a frozen continent of massive snow fields. Hot steam vents provided a safe haven from the brutal, freezing cold. These ancient groups saved precious energy by avoiding firewood duty. Glowing lava flows illuminated the dark valleys for several miles around. Bright volcanic fires easily kept dangerous forest beasts far away. Tired nomads rested peacefully on warm ash fields during cold nights. This strange geothermal habitat created a highly unique survival zone. We view these unstable mountains as purely destructive force fields. Prehistoric clans recognized an incredibly vast biological jackpot. They willingly traded physical safety to secure life-saving assets. Modern researchers do not have to guess about these ancient travels. Fossil evidence remains perfectly preserved inside the hard ground. We must examine the deep ash layers to find their ancient footsteps. Today we can actually touch the concrete evidence of their journeys. Frozen proof remains beautifully preserved inside the solid ground. Dedicated scholars recently found footprints pressed into cold stone. Such unique tracks wind directly through historical eruption zones. Terrified animals and brave humans once fled the burning mountain. Hot volcanic dust quickly coated the damp ground during their escape. With amazing speed, Wet gray powder hardened into a permanent record. Those fossilized steps now offer very clear proof of daily activity. Some prints belong to brave children walking very close to the smoke. They walked without any panic toward the highly dangerous boiling peak. Other ancient tracks show family groups traveling together at night. These travelers were clearly searching for valuable volcanic stones. We find precious artifacts buried deep within the dark ash layers. Ancient toolmakers left unique stone supplies near dangerous vents. Experts call these hidden piles of volcanic rock obsidian caches. These ancient storage spots sit incredibly close to active vents. Prehistoric families did not simply drop their blades by accident. They deliberately stored tool reserves inside these hazard zones. Gathering trips were clearly planned events rather than sudden moves. These groups repeatedly returned to the mountains despite great risk. Hot steaming vents did not discourage their focus on quality gear. The dangerous terrain definitely represented a busy stone factory. Ancient miners repeatedly harvested high-quality blade materials. New excavations show these trips occurred over thousands of years. Our ancestors did not simply visit once during a massive emergency. They developed an ongoing relationship with active geothermal zones. Living near sudden hazard regions became a viable lifestyle choice. Early clans actively chose the risk of fire to secure unique tools. Clans managed extreme danger in order to secure food for their young. Active volcanoes presented far more than just a source of sharp glass. The heated earth also offered a reliable source of permanent heat. We must explore this deep underground fire to see how it warmed them. Think of those boiling zones as massive geothermal power stations. No other place on the cold planet offered continuous free warmth. Gathering daily firewood during an ice age was a brutal chore. A single hot steam vent instantly solved this exhausting problem. These natural heating systems ran endlessly for hundreds of years. Prehistoric family groups huddled near a glowing volcanic fissure. They enjoyed constant warmth without lifting a single cold finger. This glowing geography offered a powerful survival cheat code. The active planet essentially provided a free source of energy. Traveling nomads used these natural hotspots to survive blizzards. Forest beasts also discovered the comfort of heated mountain slopes. Ancient hunters waited close by to ambush these relaxed targets. This clever setup created a highly productive ancestral kitchen. Boiling geothermal pools functioned as ready-made soup cookers. You could drop fresh meat directly into a bubbling thermal spring. The steaming landscape provided a hot meal without using any wood. Constant volcanic brilliance also banished the heavy night darkness. Glowing lava flows illuminated the dark valley for several miles. Dangerous nocturnal predators hated the bright sulfur fumes. Prehistoric clans slept peacefully on warm ash under a red sky. This bizarre comfort zone was completely unique to our species. Other forest creatures fled the smoking peaks in absolute panic. Our clever ancestors stepped closer to secure a massive advantage. They transformed a deadly hazard into a highly luxurious home. The freezing global climate became surprisingly easy to manage. This geothermal partnership rewired how they viewed the wild. The smoking mountains were no longer treated as raw hazards. Instead, they became invaluable sources of life-saving energy. Early humans felt a deep emotional connection to these vents. Over time, this practical relationship grew much more complex. The smoking earth shifted from a busy factory into a spirit zone. We must examine the sacred rituals performed near these portals. These glowing portals slowly became deeply sacred spaces for early man. Ancient tribes no longer viewed the smoking peaks like simple quarries. The terrifying fire instead represented the wrath of a hidden god. Some groups walked up the rocky slopes purely to collect heavy stones. Other clans climbed with heavy hearts to offer precious tribal gifts. They threw crafted weapons directly into the glowing hot liquid lava. These sacrifices aimed to calm the restless spirits of the mountain. Archaeologists find charred bones mixed inside ancient volcanic soil. This ash holds the burnt remains of highly prized hunting animals. The absolute terror of sudden death slowly transformed into devotion. Early clans spoke of the active crater like a giant living entity. They gave deep names to the terrifying roaring noises from below. Every violent shake represented a direct message from their creators. The supreme fire deity demanded absolute obedience from the tribe. Priests designed elaborate dances on the warm edges of the caldera. Heavy wooden drums successfully mimicked the deep tremors of the earth. Excited dancers quickly fell into deep, highly spiritual trances. Thick sulfur fumes naturally enhanced these vivid mental experiences. Many ancient societies treated the glowing vents like cosmic portals. These smoking cracks represented the main gate to the underworld. Tribal shamans claimed they could talk directly with the mountain. A strange division quickly grew between practical use and sacred awe. Certain groups saw a busy tool factory and others saw a holy temple. This cultural split deeply influenced how different clans operated. Resource gatherers entered the danger zone quickly and left fast. Devout worshippers stayed much longer on the peak to chant and pray. Yet both groups faced the exact same extremely lethal environment. The raging volcano made no distinctions between faith and utility. Blinding ash and toxic gases would consume any trespasser equally. Prehistoric humans paid an incredibly heavy toll for staying close. The very air they breathed was a highly silent, invisible killer. We must analyze the highly toxic price they paid for this closeness. Let us examine the invisible poison hiding inside these hot zones. Odorless carbon dioxide slowly pooled inside low valleys at night. This heavy gas remains completely invisible to the naked human eye. Entire families slept peacefully on the warm ground and never woke up. Pungent yellow sulfur clouds irritated their ancient eyes and lungs. Acid rain repeatedly ruined their small supply of pure drinking water. Sudden supersonic flows of white-hot ash raced down the rocky slopes. These blistering clouds traveled faster than any running forest beast. Superheated gas instantly scorched everything in its devastating path. No human traveler could ever hope to escape this sudden fiery wave. Archaeologists frequently discover entire camps buried deep under ash. Modern experts find frozen snapshots of ancient daily life preserved. Stone knives and charred animal bones remain exactly inside the mud. Local villagers were clearly caught completely off guard by the blast. Fleeing refugees abandoned their highly valuable items in a panic. The dense ash cloud easily blocked out every single ray of sunlight. Absolute pitch darkness completely disoriented those trying to run. Terrified humans wandered aimlessly directly into the active vents. Microscopic volcanic dust quickly choked their delicate air passages. This inhaled powder mixed with bodily moisture to form solid cement. Our brave ancestors paid an incredibly heavy physical toll to stay. Yet consecutive generations kept returning to these active slopes. Daily survival advantages outweighed the huge catastrophic threats. This high-stakes gamble deeply shaped how they viewed the universe. Each roaring peak represented a direct link to massive life and death. The delicate line separating life and absolute doom remained thin. Certain huge disasters permanently scarred their collective memories. Imagine witnessing a massive mountain explosion for the first time. The solid ground split open and liquid fire rained down from the sky. This terrible disaster left a permanent scar on early human history. Many ancient survivors slowly turned fear into enduring fire myths. We must study the deep psychological scars left by these old gods. Imagine witnessing a massive mountain explosion for the very first time. The solid ground split wide open and liquid fire rained from the sky. This terrible disaster left a permanent scar on early human history. Ancient survivors quickly turned their raw fear into enduring myths. As the massive black pillar of ash rose, it instantly blocked the sun. Terrified families fled as blistering red rivers ran down the slopes. This cosmic trauma was quickly burned into their collective memory. They carried these vivid nightmares with them across many continents. While huddled around campfires, isolated clans shared similar stories. Every ancient culture developed a striking myth of a great fire god. Within these angry legends, a giant beast was always trapped inside. The roaring peak was widely feared as a direct gate to the underworld. Different tribes on separate oceans drew the exact same conclusions. A massive mountain was clearly a conscious and highly dangerous force. To calm the peak, it demanded human attention and precious gifts. Pacific Islanders threw rare green stones into the bubbling caldera. American clans offered beautiful handmade pottery to calm the heat. Across the global landscape, ancient shrines sit on active peaks. These widespread practices represent a very deep psychological scar. Our brave ancestors experienced the ultimate trauma of Mother Nature. By telling these stories, they successfully converted pure terror. This cultural defense mechanism helped them process the massive shock. They were no longer helpless victims of an unpredictable universe. Rather than being victims, they maintained an active relationship. They could eagerly offer blood or crafted tools to calm the giant. This psychological framework provided a crucial feeling of control. By believing these myths, they avoided fleeing highly rich zones. The comforting structure of mythology sustained their ancient camps. Yet pure faith alone could never protect them from a sudden blast. To survive the next blast, they desperately needed to learn more. Survival demanded a transition from raw fear to active observation. We must witness how they began reading subtle warnings in the rock. Our resourceful ancestors soon began studying these violent hazards. They learned to recognize very small warnings before a sudden blast. Odd fumes carried on the cold breeze became crucial survival clues. Sudden changes inside local geysers signaled a dangerous shift below. Tiny earth tremors beneath their bare feet whispered of deep unrest. Even terrified wild animals quickly fled before the ground erupted. Huge flocks of screaming birds suddenly launched into the gray air. Gathering these natural clues became our first predictive system. This dangerous peak essentially served as a high-stakes classroom. Making a single mistake meant absolute doom for the whole family. Early humans rapidly developed advanced pattern recognition skills. They learned to connect separate subtle events into a clear view. Such a fresh mental framework quickly reshaped their hunting style. Tracking big herds required reading the environment just as closely. Broken twigs and strange soil marks revealed secret paths of prey. The same analytical focus helped them accurately predict weather. Shifting wind directions or dark clouds foretold sudden blizzards. This cognitive jump completely redefined ancient human intelligence. Prehistoric families no longer simply reacted to immediate dangers. Instead, they actively anticipated the future using shared mental maps. This high level of foresight became their ultimate defensive weapon. Wise elders carefully passed these safety lessons down to children. Colorful legends about sleeping giants stored very practical knowledge. Sacred ceremonies held strict codes detailing when to flee a peak. Prehistoric thinkers successfully mastered their chaotic environment. These ancient clans did not simply run from the blazing fire in fear. Rather, they harnessed observation to gain a major strategic edge. Our analytical focus quickly helped us conquer a dangerous world. Modern humans still carry this deep risk assessment architecture. We utilize the exact same mental machinery to solve complex tasks. Analyzing big stock markets relies entirely on these primal habits. Let us observe how this hardwired focus drives our modern actions. Think about your unique behavior the next time you see a hot flame. A strange magnetic pull automatically forces you to look at the fire. You stand near the safety railing, capturing images of the red lava. Your conscious mind falsely believes you just want a beautiful photo. In reality, a deep biological code is driving your modern actions. We still fully possess the exact same instincts of ancient ancestors. Millions of years of harsh ice ages deeply shaped our mental landscape. Our primeval brain remembers how warmth meant life during cold winters. A glowing crater was essentially a sacred fireplace for nomadic clans. These early groups actively chose dangerous risks to secure resources. Sharp obsidian blades were worth the constant threat of sudden death. Hunting for premium dark glass forced them to study nature intensely. This painful lesson slowly constructed our first scientific framework. Watching wild animals and feeling small tremors taught them foresight. They survived by converting blind panic into deep pattern recognition. We inherited this primal neurological structure to conquer the world. Our modern minds direct this survival algorithm towards simpler goals. Instead of collecting obsidian, you hunt for clicks and online likes. The smartphone in your hand is basically the new weapon of choice. Yet we still walk directly up to dangerous places for a quick rush. Standing near a volatile volcano fills us with raw geological wonder. You feel a deep physical connection to the burning core of the earth. Fire is still our ultimate ancestral anchor in a sterile modern world. We seek out these wild extremes to escape the comfort of daily life. A boiling landscape reminds us of our true position in the universe. Human beings are not completely separate from the raw force of nature. We are just highly curious primates with a bizarre obsession with fire. This ancient spark warming our ancestors still guides modern decisions. You are not simply taking beautiful photos of an interesting volcano. Instead, you are repeating a highly structured prehistoric ritual. Peer over the physical barrier with respect for this sacred bond. Always stay incredibly curious about the wildfire burning inside us.